I knew my ex for almost 10 years. We go back all the way to high school and have been friends. After we graduated I said hello and asked her out and we became a couple. We dated for almost 6 years before she came to me and told me she was pregnant. I won't lie, I loved her at the time and this was actually quite exciting to me, so I proposed. She, however, seemed super worried. I sat down and talked with her about it. I told her that even if she did decide to terminate the pregnancy, I would be by her side and still wanted to marry her. She was super awkward about it but decided to keep the child and accepted my proposal. These past 7 months have been a roller coaster. She moved in with me and we began getting ready for our daughter's birth and we were planning on getting married after she is born. That was until a few weeks ago. An old acquaintance from high school reached out to me. I was never good friends with him, but he said that he felt guilty about letting an innocent man suffer for his and my ex's mistakes. This guy claimed that he was the father of my ex's child and that my ex had been lying to me. It turns out that my ex and him got reacquainted about a year ago and started making love. Around the time my ex got pregnant they began having unprotected lovemaking. He is not lying about this. He sent me photos of them together and showed me texts between the two of them. I was able to get my ex's phone and confirm they were real. Along with this, he sent me a string of Facebook messages of my ex admitting to lying to me because I make more money than the real father and she would rather I care for it. Suffice to say, I was freaking pissed. I confronted her, she cried, I cried, it was a mess. In the end, I broke it off then and there and evicted her from my apartment. She's in the process of moving out now, but I have not said a single word to her. I have pretty much told her that I want her out of my life. I also demanded a DNA test the minute the child is born. If it is mine, I'll help her support it. If not, then I am never seeing her again. I've been cold to her. Her and her parents have tried multiple times to work it out with me, but I've refused any contact with them. At one point she got all of her friends together to try to talk to me and I kicked them out of the apartment with threats of calling the police. Anytime she's tried to reconcile I've shut it down. My friends are saying I'm in wrong here. According to them, she's pregnant and because of that, I should at least be helping her till the baby is born, even if it isn't mine. I disagree fully. But I could be wrong. Am I letting my own emotions hide the fact from me that I'm an idiot? Not the idiot. Your friends sound like dipcrops. They should help her out. You need to know whose kid that is because it impacts your obligations and future with this woman who violated your trust like that. Even if you never get back together, you'll still have to deal with this woman if you want to be involved in your kid's life. If the kid is not yours, you won't have those obligations. This information changes how you move forward with this lady massively and is of utmost importance. Not the idiot. Your friends don't seem to have your best interest in mind. I get wanting a pregnant woman to be looked after, but I'm assuming it isn't like she's out in the streets begging for food. They're also forgetting that she carried on an affair that most likely conceived a child and then lied to you about it for 7 months in the interest of making sure she and the child were financially set. Do they expect you to take her back if the child is yours? Because honestly, with the way they're acting, I wouldn't be surprised. Not the idiot, and you can do a DNA test while pregnant. Does everyone know that she cheated? Not just kinda cheated, had a whole relationship. Stay cold, if the child is yours, pay your child support and get your visitation and let it work out or talk to a lawyer about signing away your rights if you want to. If it's yours, get a lawyer either way. You don't need to be in a relationship to be a parent. This pregnancy is possibly not your responsibility. I am a 22-year-old male rooming with my 24-year-old male friend. His girlfriend is 26 and has 2 kids who are not his. The kids are 5 and 3. Well, the girlfriend got kicked out of her own place and doesn't have a job and can't pay rent to live anywhere. My roommate and I share a 2-bedroom 1-bathroom apartment. The girlfriend and kids came to live here and I was fine with it as they had just been kicked out and thought she would need a week to get back on her feet. Well, 2 weeks later she was still there and I asked my roommate what the plan was as I was starting to get annoyed by the kids. Basically, I am still in college and like having friends over, but his girlfriend said I'm not allowed to have friends over after 10 and I can't drink or have parties here anymore because it would be a bad example for the kids. My roommate and I both pay half the rent. My roommate says they are going to move in for the rest of the lease which ends in December. He said we could split utilities 5 ways if it made it better. I said this was unacceptable, I didn't agree to live with a family, and this is really starting to affect my life. I said even if we split rent 5 ways I wouldn't want to do that. I then said if they're not gone by the end of the week, I will go to the property manager and take whatever steps are needed to resolve the issue. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You and your friend agreed to enter a lease by evenly splitting the property, along with the rent and bills. Now, he is insisting that the deal you two made should change because he feels like it. I would suggest giving it a total of 1 month before going to the landlord just because of the unfortunate circumstances, but continue to refuse her crap rules about how you should live in your home. If your roommate doesn't like it, then maybe he should buy out your side of the lease and move his new family in. Not the idiot. Sounds crappy, she has no one to watch her kids while she looks for a job, no friends. Call Child Protective Services and tell them everything you just wrote on this Reddit post. They hopefully won't take the kids, but then she could explain her situation, and hopefully, CPS can help her by directing her to some sort of state-funded women's shelter until she gets back on her feet. Or maybe they will take the kids and foster them until she finds a job and a place with 2 bedrooms. You never know, but think of those kids, man. Where is the father? Not the idiot. Honestly, you can easily replace the roommate. I'd tell him that the girlfriend plus the kids can go by the end of the week or you'll break the lease, and then everyone's screwed. Just gotta commit to it. I'll tell you what though, no one's girlfriend or whatever they are is gonna come up in my house or apartment and tell me what I can and cannot do. But I'm also the spiteful idiot who would invite my friends over after 10 p.m., play music, knock back some cold ones, and play Trivia Pursuit in the living room full crank. I have a close friend who has been a very good and loyal friend to me for a long time. I have no complaints about her friendship. We've been friends since college, now we both have kids. The issue is her kids, 3 boys, are very violent and mean. They are mean to my son and other children. Last year, her oldest son kicked my other friend's daughter, much younger than him, in the face on purpose. Many people saw. She could have been seriously hurt. I moved past that since you know kids will do messed up stuff sometimes, and she promised to watch him closer this time, so I invited them to his party this year. At our recent party the oldest one, 8, told everyone he needed to pee and pulled down his pants and then pissed all over the bounce house. The bounce house had to be shut down and then cleaned out and rinsed. It's not the end of the world, but it did take about 30 min total out of his 3-hour party to just clean it. She did fuss him and made him sit in timeout, and then he went back to play and an adult had to end up standing there chaperoning the slide. All of the kids were taking turns going down the bounce house slide, but her children took every opportunity to push and shove to get to the front, ruining the harmony of the afternoon. My son, 5th birthday, got upset when he waited his turn and they pushed him and went ahead of him. Other kids also got upset. They also have an issue with breaking things. The middle son tore apart the treehouse interior, even ripped apart things that were screwed in, but it was stuff that could be fixed. It just upset my son to see his things broken because he takes very good care of his things. Nothing they have done is permanent destruction, nor is it lasting injuries. They are still quite young. Still, I don't want them at our house anymore. Our other son's birthday is next month and I truly don't want to invite them. If I don't invite them, my friend will know why. Many people have broken off contact with her for this, and it will destroy our friendship. She pays very little attention to them when they are at an event. I felt like since her kids were the ones causing the issue, she should have been the one standing there chaperoning them and not leaving their behavior to be corrected by other people. Am I an idiot? Or is it okay not to invite them? Or is it okay not to invite them, but I'm also an idiot at the same time? Is there any way not to be an idiot about it? Not the idiot. She does have a responsibility to monitor and parent her children. And since you mentioned she wasn't supervising, this isn't just a kids with tough behavior issues and a parent doing their best situation, she is actively slacking. I can see zero way to blame you for deciding not to be friends with her or let her kids over because of that. This really screws for her kids, but sadly, there's not much you can do about kids who you know aren't being parented well, unless it rises to the level of abuse. Not the idiot, but your delivery of this message will be key. I'd try to do it in person, rather than phone or text, so you can have a real interaction, and she can see and hear what you're saying and how you're saying it. Perhaps to preserve the friendship, you two can do one-on-one activities with no kids so she can have the break she needs from them without subjecting your kids to her kids. It seems she's pretty sensitive to this and how other friends have done this to her before, so this is a tough conversation that you'll have and a lot of landmines to avoid. Not the idiot. You shouldn't have to worry about your kids or others getting hurt because she won't control her kids. And an 8-year-old who pisses in a bouncy house either has some mental problems or is just allowed to be such a brat he doesn't care. And since he just sat in timeout then was allowed to go back and play tells me she doesn't really discipline for crap. He should have been removed immediately for good. It's perfectly fine not to invite them. Don't let them ruin a fun time for the other children. You will in no way be an idiot. Background. When I was 11, my dad and mom split. My dad got a new girlfriend and he hasn't really been around much. I'll invite him to volleyball games or other school activities and he wouldn't show and make up some excuse that usually had to do with his girlfriend. He has missed every birthday since I was 11 because of something up with his girlfriend. I don't know if it's true, but he always used his girlfriend as an excuse. So my dad isn't really part of my life anymore. I am now 17 years old. Recently, my dad decided to come around. Father's girlfriend is pregnant and that might be why, but I don't know. He came over while mom was at work and walked in on my boyfriend and I making love. Mom is okay with us making love since she knows that she can't stop it but wants us to tell her when it happens so she can make sure we have enough rubbers and stuff to stay safe. He yelled at us to get dressed and come downstairs. He then kicked my boyfriend out and sat me down at the kitchen table to scream at me some more. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. After being screamed at for about 30 minutes, I snapped. I yelled at him that he has not been a part of my life for almost 6 years. Hasn't even made an effort to give a damn birthday card on my birthday. He doesn't get to all of a sudden decide to become a parent again whenever he feels like it. I told him to get the hell out and leave me alone. After that, he called my mom and told her what happened. She came home and scolded me for talking that way to my father and that I should apologize. Am I the idiot for snapping at my dad that he doesn't have the right to parent me anymore? Not the idiot. I'm sure your dad thought he was caring for you or something, but after 6 years of being quite absent, walking in seemingly unannounced into your mom's house without at least going through the rules of the house with your mom, and scolding you for 30 minutes for something that doesn't cause trouble between you and your actual parent, your mom, is straight up out of line. He should have at least asked if your mom is okay with you and your boyfriend making love, instead of deciding to kick your boyfriend out when he's been out of any decision making for 6 years. Not the idiot. I'm in my 30s and I recently had to tell my own dad who wasn't around when I was growing up that he couldn't parent me now. You were not out of line in this. You should not be expected to allow your dad to waltz back in your life like that after so long, simply because he's your dad. He left that spot empty and if he wants it back he need to earn it. Earning it would start with nothing less than a full apology for his behavior for the last few years, and that's the bare minimum. Not the idiot. Your idiot bio dad trespassed in your home. He had no right to walk into the house you share with your mother without you opening the door and inviting him in. Then he commits coitus interruptus and pitches your boyfriend, who is an active part of your life, from the house. If he checked with the actual owners of the home, he'd know no rules were being broken. If he was an actual father, he'd know something about your life. He's not and he doesn't. Your mom is wrong to chide you for standing up for yourself. Stay strong. Long story short, last year I discovered that my wife had been having an affair with my 25 brother, 31. Obviously, I was disgusted. I immediately cut off all contact with him, kicked her out, and filed for divorce. I ended up with the house. She didn't put up much of a fight at least, no kids thankfully, and we made almost the exact same income so no spousal support either way. Still, the hardest, most stressful, and painful thing I've ever been through, wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but all in all, it could have been a lot worse. My ex-wife actually moved in with my ex-brother and got freaking pregnant soon after. The rest of the family knew something was going on, but I waited a month to cool down a bit and get things well underway before I told them the details of the divorce. Those were fun conversations. I told my parents it was up to them how they wanted to handle their relationship with their other son, now that they knew what he'd done. I just asked that he or my ex not be present anytime I came to visit, they agreed. We didn't have a lot of savings, and we made the same amount of money as I mentioned before, adding legal fees to that, and I was struggling financially towards the end. But I made it to the home stretch. The next month I had two of my best friends moving in to help with expenses. I just needed to make one more mortgage payment before things got more stable, but I was short about $500. So I called my parents and asked to borrow the money. It was pretty desperate and I hadn't asked them for anything throughout this entire divorce, so I didn't think there'd be an issue. They said, well, we actually don't have any to lend you since we just gave them, garbage humans, a lot of money to help them set up for the baby. I probably sat on the other end of the line in silence for half a minute, just stunned. My parents wouldn't lend me money to keep my house because they had given, presumably, more money to help the two pieces of crap that destroyed my life. After I had finally processed what I heard, I just hung up and I haven't spoken to them since. It's been many months now. They send birthday and Christmas cards for whatever reason, but I'm not even considering forgiving them until I get a detailed, abject, groveling apology. My friends have supported me through most of this, but think I've been wrong here. They don't think I should have taken it personally because it was about the baby, not what they did. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Presumably, your parents doled out the money to Broho, you're welcome for that one, before your request came in, so it was not a direct competition for the funds. But to give you nothing. Not even a portion of what you asked for. That's hard to swallow. It sounds like you have been hurt a lot and are still hurting. Perhaps in time, you will be able to at least talk to your parents about this whole thing. Then again, maybe not, that's okay too. Not the idiot, you have been fully screwed over and I feel terrible for you. You have an empty house, a selfish brother, a terrible ex-wife, and ignorant parents. I'm so sorry for you. I don't see how you could possibly be an idiot here. Sure, you're not entitled to money from anyone simply because you ask and their family, so you can't be mad at your parents for that. You can, however, be upset because of their ignorance towards your situation and how they've contributed negatively to it despite their intentions by giving support to the party that is largely responsible for your situation. Not the idiot. Your parents see what your brother did and have decided it was a betrayal to you but not to them. It is very unfortunate for you that they gave so much money they had no more to loan you. If you can pay it off right away, you may want to get a short-term loan or work something out with a mortgage company. Usually missing one payment does not mean they will just take your house. You can smile when you find out she cheats on your brother because she probably will.